Hello and welcome. Today we have a little cheeky reaction video. Now, as you probably have noticed in the media, the Colston Four, the four legends that brought down the Edward Colston statue, have been cleared of charges. They will not be facing any prosecution, which is so good and so very based. Oh, just knocked my microphone. And obviously Nigel Farage, king of UKIP, king of Brexit, the old up the Rah himself, has delivered his verdict, okay? He's delivered his verdict on the Colston 4. And me and you, we're going to watch it together and see what old Frogface has to say. Shall we give it a go? Take it away, Nige.
Well, have you seen the judgment from Bristol today?
I have.
4 people on trial for criminal damage. You remember, Black Lives Matter. The chant was going out. It was being supported by the press, supported by sports teams.
Wasn't that great? Wasn't it great to have it supported by all those people? Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Come on, Nige.
People were taking the knee. The police were allowing people to desecrate Churchill's statue.
Good. Desecrate away. He was a fucking racist. Do it. Who cares? Stay mad, Nigel. It's a statue.
No sanctions taken against anybody.
Good.
Then in Bristol, the Edward Colston statue toppled and thrown into the dock. 4 people accused of criminal damage. Riam, Milo, Sage and Jake. The names say it all. Not oppressed black people.
Whoa, I'm sorry. He's just read out 4 names that could be applied to any person in the UK or any other place in the world, and he's like, listen to these British names, clearly not black people. Nigel, I don't know if you're aware, but black people name their kids Milo too. Just thought I'd let you know.
Fighting for equality. No, far from it. No. Privileged white kids, racked with guilt, fueled by Marxist ideology.
Marxist ideology. Famously, Marx said, communism is when no iPhone. Communism is when Amazon is used. Communism is when white people take down statues. Famously, he said all those things. Keep going, Nigel.
Unbelievably, the jury today have found them not guilty. The argument is that the very existence of a statue was a hate crime against the people of Bristol.
It's a bit more nuanced than that. Statues are there in a country to venerate a certain person. And in this case, there was a statue of Edward Colston, who was a slave trader, who, if I get the numbers right, I might be wrong, 89,000 people were trafficked by him as slaves. 12,000 of those were children, and of that 89,000, 19,000 of them died in transit. So he wasn't a great guy by any stretch of the imagination. But of course, Nigel will defend this slave trader, won't he? He will proudly stand there and say this was wrong, and slave traders like Edward Colston, the statue should stay up because otherwise we're erasing our history, and that's a bad thing. And if you erase the history, then you're doomed to repeat it. Famously, now that the statue of Edward Colston is gone, Britain is going to do slavery again. That's sort of how it works.
All right, Edward Colston was a big slave trader and then a big benefactor to Bristol. But if you're going to rubbish the whole past of Bristol, I mean, why not fill in the dock? I mean, that was where the slave ships went from. Why not make it a landfill site? I've got a better idea to put to our 4 upper middle class friends.
How does he know they're upper middle class? Is he just assuming based on the fact that they're white? I mean, he's heard their names and he's gone, oh, these are not black names, these are white names. And now he's known that they're white. They're like, these are not white people, these are middle-class white people. The best,
Why not, if you're unhappy with that statue? And by the way, it should never have been removed like that. If the local council had been elected to do so, that would have been fine. Why not put up...
By the way, that wouldn't have been fine. Nigel would have been very pissed off that statue would come down, even if they did it through the legal channels, and you know, the council did it. Farage would be seething. He'd be like, "We can't even have slave trader statues anymore. BC's gone mad. These days, if you have a slave trader statue, you won't even get thrown in jail." Poor Nigel. My heart really goes out for him.
Monument to the Royal Naval Squadron. Have you heard of that, you people? No, I don't suppose you have. You see, you're so convinced that we have this awful history? Well, we were the first civilized country to abolish slavery, but more than that.
I just opened Photoshop by mistake. Were we the first civilized country to abolish slavery? I mean, whether we were or not, we still had slaves. Slavery wouldn't need abolishing if we'd have never had slaves in the first place. So that's not really a gotcha, Nigel. That's sort of saying, well, we had slaves, and we stopped doing the slavery quicker than anybody else. Like, I know that taxpayers' money has gone on compensating these slave traders for their lost property, but we got rid of the slaves first. Yes, we did.
The Royal Naval Squadron, over the next 30 years, drove slavery off the high seas. We stopped our European competitors from operating in the slave trade. We decided morally it was wrong. And thousands of British sailors lost their lives. So if you're looking to pick for the bad guys in the history of slavery, and by the way, it's still going on in the world today, and indeed in our country, the reforms of modern slavery. But if you're looking for the bad guys, it's not us. In fact, compared to our European neighbours, in many ways...
I mean, this is just stereotypical Farage, isn't it? Ignore the UK's problems and let's blame Europe instead. Guys, we may have done slavery, but look, we stopped doing slavery really quickly after we did it for hundreds of years. We stopped, guys. Yeah, we did it, but we stopped doing it. So, look at Europe. They did slavery longer than we did slavery. Guys, slavery. Ugh.
We're the good guys. We put a lot of blood and gold into driving out the slave trade.
When he says we put a lot of blood and gold into driving out the slave trade, what he actually means is we heavily compensated slave traders for their lost property. And when I say lost property, I mean the slaves they held, which was obviously immoral. Nigel knows it's immoral. But when he says blood and gold, that is strictly the blood and gold going to compensate the people that owned other people as property.
The time. And think what this judgment means. What public monument is now safe in this country?
None of them, and that's the way it should be. If you've got a statue that's celebrating someone like a slave trader, it should not be safe, okay? We get to decide, as a society, who we should venerate. And when you've got a statue of a slave trader, what does that say about the UK? That we are perfectly happy to put up and celebrate a man who was responsible for the enslavement of 89,000 people and the deaths of those people, okay? What does that say about us? But we're the good guys, according to Farage. We are the good guys. Never forget.
Indeed, people could attack power lines or power stations on the basis that it's causing global warming. This is a very, very...
He's about to say slippery slope, isn't he?
This is a very slippery slope. If they can take down a statue of a slave trader, then are they allowed to take down a power line? Is this a slippery slope?
Very disturbing, worrying case. And it reminds me a bit of Oregon in America, where the police have given up.
As opposed to Oregon in blimmin' Afghanistan.
And people have simply taken things into their own hands. At the time of the toppling of that statue, I said, groups that go round...
Did you say topping of that statue? No one's trying to fuck the statue, Nigel. No one's trying to top the statue. What the fuck are you on about, mate? I mean, if you want to have sex with Edward Colston, that's your prerogative. It wouldn't surprise me, but topping of a statue? Bloody hell.
Smashing up historical sites and statues that they don't like, for whatever reason, is a bad...
It's not for whatever reason, Nigel. He was a slave trader. It's not...
They smashed up the statue because they didn't like the trousers he was wearing.
They smashed up the statue and they threw it in the river because he was a slave trader. And some of that money that he brought in, trading humans as property, went to build Bristol as a city. So of course, throw him in the river. It's quite poetic and ironic that he got thrown in the very river that he used to trade slaves in.
And dangerous path. Well, BLM, I was calling it at the time. Nobody wanted to know. It is a Marxist organisation devoted to bringing down Western society and capitalism. And its main aim is to defund the police. It's not about racial equality.
Yeah,
It's about
defunding the police is about racial equality, Nigel. Please do some research. They don't want to get rid of the police and defund it completely and not have any police. They want to reallocate funds that would originally go to the police into more social security and social safety nets to stop people turning towards crime in the first place, not the police, Nigel. Please understand things and use your brain.
destruction of modern Western civilization. And BLM's been very successful in America.
Good.
Lots of state police departments, city police departments have cut funding
Good.
after George Floyd's death.
Based.
And the result? Spiralling violent crime and murder rates. If any of you out there haven't yet woken up to what BLM really is, please do so now and be very...
Hang on. I'm about to wake up. Are you ready? I've woken up. BLM is still good. Stay mad.
very worried for our history and our public monuments given this dreadful judgment.
I'm very worried about the rest of the statues of slave traders that might be in jeopardy thanks to BLM. Isn't it very, very sad that all these statues may or may not be taken down? This is the face of BLM. They will take down statues of slave traders. They will take down statues of dictators. They will take down statues of horrible people, and we must stop them. You must be awake to BLM. You must. It is imperative.
I don't know why I sound like Mitch McConnell, but you get the point. Anyway, that's Nigel Farage doing his best to defend a slave trader, I guess. If you like the video, give it a like. If you didn't like the video, give it a dislike. If you want to comment, leave me a comment. If you want to subscribe, then subscribe. I will be doing more of videos like this. That's it, really. Share it with your friends. Share it with your friends that may disagree. That's the main thing. I want to change minds. I want to change hearts and minds and souls, and I want to reach out to you, the viewer. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.